deeds, but Vikarmi is literally a materialist who's here simply to take possession of as much matter as he wants to, with no reference to demigods, to gods, to God, to whatever. And then Karmi is a pious person who is a materialist, who is, according to Bhagavad Gita, who's in the material world here to grab the material world, grab matter, but is going about that in a pious way, by giving respect specifically to devas. And then the jnani is someone who has actually consciously grown person, who's starting to think in terms of a goal of life. In other words, what's the goal of life? Not what are the goals in life, like I want to finish school, and then you attain that goal, and then the goal is non-existent anymore. But goal of life, that which is eternal, that which for which you have been created, for that which you actually exist, that which you ought to attain and always be there. That's a jnani. Someone who has started to think, someone who's not simply wasting their time on a cell phone, whatever, buying stuff. And then yogi is someone who has, upon understanding that there is goal of life, has understood that the goal of life must be metaphysical, must be spiritual, because everything material has a beginning and an end. And has therefore developed metaphysical methods to understand and approach the metaphysical spiritual goal. Like, for example, if I were to give you a measuring stick and to ask you to tell me what's the temperature outside, you could not tell, because you're using a wrong method. So similarly, if you use biology, chemistry, math, physics, etc., you cannot tell me anything about the soul. You cannot tell me anything about God. You cannot tell me anything about spiritual world. So therefore, yogis are mystics, people who have started to practice metaphysical methods to understand metaphysical spiritual reality. And bhaktas are those who have come to love God. And God, by the way, in Vedic concepts includes everything. God and God's energies, which includes all the souls and all inanimate matter. So, and if you think in these terms, you will find vikarmis, karmis, jnanis, yogis, and bhaktas everywhere, in every tradition. So when people ask, is Christianity good? Is Islam good? Is Hinduism good? These questions are actually coming from people who have a very primitive understanding of anything, of everything. As if Christianity is one uniform thing. As if Islam is one uniform thing. As if Hinduism is one uniform thing. Even within Vedic tradition, there's understanding that certain things are in the mode of darkness, in the mode of ignorance. Certain things are in the disturbed mode of rajas. Certain things are in the sattvic mode, the mode of goodness. And certain things are actually transcendental. So certain sections of the Vedas are rejected by Krishna. Right in the Bhagavad Gita, it tells Arjuna, reject most of the Vedas because they deal with mundane stuff. Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. Bhagavad Gita. So that brings us to this point. If we're going to discuss human spirituality, we should discuss human spirituality not in terms of tradition, but in terms of quality of specific idea. And anyone who does not understand this is really consciously retarded. And I know in modern times word retarded is offensive, but retarded is not an offensive word. It just means that something has not fully developed. Like fire retardation means you have suppressed the growth of fire. So when growth of consciousness is suppressed, such a person is called consciously retarded. And that's why they function like this. They even think like that, because they really have a lot of room to consciously grow. And with such people, even to begin to have a rational, productive conversation is impossible. So they just need to be left to the material world. Durga Devi will take care of them. That's why Durga Devi carries a trident, represents the three miseries of the material world. Just the very fact that their thinking is so pathetic means they're suffering. Happiness comes from good thinking, from good comprehension. To have a narrow thinking, you live in a narrow, pathetic, small world, experiencing pathetic life. Awesome thinking means awesome life. Therefore, literally, people who are consciously developed, their happiness has grown. They're living awesome life. That's what Krishna is trying to do. So it's really important to study what Krishna teaches, not just... Most people are religious for the sake of tradition. They don't understand that there's actually objective value, that Krishna is actually teaching you how to perceive things in the most deep way.
These Hindus will be happy to hear that there was a survey done in UK for happiness and all different religions. And some 21,000 people they surveyed. They found out that Hindus are the highest, happiest in UK. And then Christianity and atheists were somewhere lower and some other one.
But I would really, I mean, of course, what I'm about to say, I cannot state with complete certainty, but from my experience of people who are culturally Hindus in America, and therefore I postulate same thing in England, even though I haven't visited England in many years, that people who are culturally Hindus in America, and therefore I assume in England, they tend to live a very good, healthy life. In terms of family, in terms of respect, they hardly ever bite into gross materialism. Like, for example, most Hindus, even if they become rich, they still know how to live a civilized life. Whereas, for example, when most Americans, when they become rich, they lose their brain. They start to take drugs. They buy stuff that they don't need. They live extravagant lives, and of course, therefore, they proportionately suffer. But at least culturally, Hindus, those who are culturally Hindus, at least by culture, they may not intellectually understand, but at least by following their culture, they understand that by gross sensual gratification, I grossly suffer. I get gross pleasure, but I get gross pain. Like drugs, they give gross pleasure, but they give really gross pain. And it's same true of any other sense gratification, whether it's eating, sleeping, sex, or whatever it is. Shopping or whatever. So, but modern world is penetrating, this modern materialism is penetrating also this very fine culture. And so we can expect to see more and more people actually suffering. Sad to see that, but I mean, we're trying to do our best to promote spiritual values and knowledge, but people just really adamant to be ignorant. So, Prabhupada once said, and it's a funny thing, but it's very instructive. He said that, it said two things. He said people, when they're in pain, then they turn to God. And so the God thinks, I have to keep beating this person so he can keep coming to me.
That's interesting.
He was joking, of course. But and it's true, I remember September 11, right? No one's happy about it having taken place. It's a horrible thing, right? But some or others, thousands and thousands and thousands of people going to mosques and churches and temples, everyone turned to God all of a sudden. And then 2-3 months later, again, back to normal. So Prabhupada jokingly said, you come to me only when you're in pain, so I have to keep beating you. And then the other thing he said was that animal because does not have developed understanding, cannot understand the purposes of the master. So master sometimes has to beat the animal. So to the extent we're like that, literally consciously retarded, to that extent Durga Devi beats us. And when we find ourselves in the position of pain, that's when we start to ask questions. And unfortunately many of Hindu youth, not too many, but significant numbers are in this position. They're abandoning the culture because they don't know the value of their culture, philosophical value of their culture. And so therefore they're buying into the modern materialism. And then years later when they get really beat up by Durga Devi, then they, oh, what's life about? Now you're asking. You should have been asking from the beginning. As Prabhupada also said, that the intelligent person learns by hearing. And not intelligent person learns by beating. They have to suffer some before they... Like a thief, Prabhupada gives example of a thief. Thief hears it's illegal to steal, it's not good, it's other people's property, you're giving pain to them, it's not morally good. You shouldn't be doing that. And by the way, even if you do, eventually you will get caught and you will be put in jail. But still, cannot even think of jail and suffering that imposes upon other living beings, is simply enamored by the thing he wants to steal. Then of course, then you have to suffer. So to the extent we're consciously developed, to that extent we will learn by hearing. Otherwise we have to be beating.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for comprehensively explaining it.
You're welcome. I shall stop now because I think it's about time. So thank you. I benefit by speaking myself. Bhagavatam says there, what is that? Vasudeva katha prashnas purushans tripunatihi shrotriya prichakam. I'm missing one. That one who hears, one who speaks, and one who asks questions, they all benefit. So I also benefit by speaking. They say that one who teaches learns the most.
Yep.
And if you don't believe me, try to teach anything. As soon as you become teacher, you learn the most.
Yeah, it's true.
So thank you too. Hare Krishna.
We'd like to thank His Grace Mahat Tattva Prabhu, who came all the way from San Diego to spend time with us, and very insightful discourse of how do we actually get surrendered to Krishna or the supreme force, and the various things which he talked about in the chapter 10th. And we hope next time when Prabhu is around, we will again get more teachings from him. And
not from me. I'm just repeating what I learned.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And typically, what we do is towards the end we have Harinam Sankirtan, and what we'll do is, for the interest of time, we'll let kids do the Kirtan. We'll all do it together because we're running short of time. And today is very auspicious day, very good festival actually. So one of the saints was born on today, Advaita Acharya, and he actually called the Lord to appear 500 years back. So today is very powerful when you actually, with all your heart, chant the holy names of the Lord. Okay? So who wants to come in the front to chant Hare Krishna mantra? Please come over. Yay, I'll set it up here so you can all speak in the mic. Careful.
Give them a chance and don't break the mic. Okay? Stay away from the microphone.
Okay, everybody.
Okay, she wants to be here too.
Come.
Okay, go.
Start.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
safe to sit here?
Yeah. You want more water?
Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.